In the heart of Africa, in a small village named Maziwa, lived a young girl named Zuri. She was known for her bright smile and kind heart. Zuri's parents, Amina and Kofi, were once very happy together, but over the years, they began to argue more and more. Eventually, they decided to divorce. Amina moved to a nearby city called Jua, while Kofi stayed in Maziwa. They agreed that Zuri would spend half of her time with each parent. Though it was hard for her, Zuri loved both her parents dearly and did her best to make the situation work. One day, while staying with her mother in Jua, Zuri went to the bustling marketplace. She loved the colorful stalls, the aroma of spices, and the lively chatter of the vendors. Amina was busy buying vegetables when Zuri saw a beautiful butterfly fluttering by. Enchanted, she followed it, weaving through the crowded market. The butterfly led her farther and farther away until she found herself at the edge of the market, near a dense forest. Zuri looked around and realized she was lost. The tall trees and unfamiliar sounds frightened her. She called out for her mother, but her voice was drowned out by the market noise. Meanwhile, Amina finished her shopping and turned around to find Zuri gone. Panic gripped her heart as she frantically searched the market, asking everyone if they had seen her daughter. No one had. Back in Maziwa, Kofi was working in the fields when he received a call from Amina. She was crying and told him that Zuri was missing. Without wasting a moment, Kofi rushed to Jua. As evening fell, Zuri wandered deeper into the forest. She stumbled upon a small clearing where she saw an old woman sitting by a fire. The woman had kind eyes and a warm smile. "Hello, child," the woman said gently. "Are you lost?" Zuri nodded, tears streaming down her face. The old woman stood up and took her hand. "Don't worry. My name is Nana, and I will help you find your way back." Nana led Zuri to a nearby village where they could rest for the night. She assured Zuri that they would continue their journey to Jua in the morning. As they sat by the fire, Nana told Zuri stories about the stars and the forest spirits. Zuri felt safe for the first time since she had lost her way. Back in Jua, Amina and Kofi joined forces, searching every corner of the city and surrounding areas. They alerted the local authorities and put up posters with Zuri's picture. Days turned into nights, and the parents grew more desperate with each passing hour. As the dawn broke, Nana and Zuri began their trek towards Jua. Nana had lived in the forest all her life and knew every path and hidden trail. She taught Zuri about the medicinal plants and the animals that lived in the forest. When they finally reached the edge of the city, Zuri felt a surge of hope. Nana held her hand firmly, guiding her through the busy streets until they reached the marketplace. There, amidst the chaos, Zuri spotted her parents, their faces etched with worry. "Mom, Dad," Zuri shouted, breaking free from Nana's grasp and running towards them. Amina and Kofi turned and saw their daughter running towards them. They embraced her tightly, tears of relief streaming down their faces. Amina looked at Nana and said, "Thank you for bringing our daughter back to us." Nana smiled and said, "Zuri is a brave and kind girl. She found her way back to you." As they stood there, reunited, they realized that despite their differences, their love for Zuri was the most important thing. They promised to work together to give her the best life possible. The market around them buzzed with life as they walked back to Amina's home, hand in hand. Nana watched them go, a knowing smile on her face. The journey was not over yet, and the challenges ahead would test their newfound unity. But for now, Zuri was home, and that was all that mattered. As days passed, Amina and Kofi tried their best to create a new routine that would give Zuri a sense of stability. They decided to alternate weekends, making sure Zuri spent equal time with each of them. Despite their efforts, the tension between Amina and Kofi sometimes resurfaced. Zuri could sense it, and it weighed heavily on her heart. One evening, Zuri sat in her room at her mother's house, drawing pictures of the forest and Nana. She missed the tranquility and wisdom of the old woman. She remembered Nana's stories about the forest spirits and wondered if they could help her family. The next weekend, while at her father's house, Zuri asked Kofi if they could visit Nana in the forest. Kofi was hesitant at first, but seeing the hope in his daughter's eyes, he agreed. They set off early in the morning, walking the familiar path Zuri had taken with Nana. As they entered the forest, Zuri felt a sense of calm wash over her. The forest seemed alive with whispers and rustling leaves. Kofi followed Zuri as she led him to the clearing where she had first met Nana. To their surprise, Nana was there, tending to her small garden. "Nana," Zuri called out, running towards her. Nana looked up and smiled warmly. "Zuri, my dear child, it's good to see you again. And you must be Kofi," she said, turning to him. Kofi nodded respectfully. "Thank you for helping my daughter. She speaks of you often." Nana invited them to sit by the fire. She served them a simple meal of roasted yams and fresh fruit. As they ate, Zuri explained why they had come. "Nana, I want my parents to stop fighting. Can the forest spirits help us?" Nana listened carefully and then spoke softly. "The forest spirits can guide us, but the true change must come from within. Let us visit the sacred tree where the spirits are strongest." They followed Nana deeper into the forest until they reached a towering tree with thick, gnarled roots. Nana knelt before the tree and began to chant in a language Zuri didn't understand. She placed her hands on the trunk and closed her eyes. After a few moments, Nana turned to Kofi and Zuri. "The spirits have spoken. They say that you must find a way to communicate with each other, to understand and respect one another's feelings. Only then will the peace you seek come to your family." Kofi looked thoughtful. "I think I understand. Amina and I have been so focused on our differences that we forgot to listen to each other." They thanked Nana and made their way back to Maziwa. That evening, Kofi called Amina and suggested a family meeting. Amina agreed, and they met at a small cafe in the village. Sitting together, they took turns sharing their feelings and listening to one another. Zuri watched as her parents spoke honestly and openly for the first time in a long while. It was a difficult conversation, but it was a start. Over the next few weeks, Amina and Kofi continued to work on their communication. They attended mediation sessions and made a conscious effort to co-parent more harmoniously. Slowly, the tension began to ease, and their home became a place of love and support for Zuri. One sunny afternoon, the family decided to visit the forest together. They brought a picnic and spent the day exploring the trails and listening to the birds. Zuri felt a deep sense of happiness, seeing her parents laugh and talk without arguing. As they sat under the sacred tree, Zuri made a silent promise to the forest spirits to always cherish the peace they had found. Nana's wisdom had brought them together, but it was their love and commitment that would keep them united. The sun set, casting a golden glow over the forest. As they walked back home, Zuri held her parents' hands, feeling hopeful about the future. The journey of healing was far from over, but they were taking it one step at a time, together. In the weeks that followed, Zuri's life began to stabilize. She found joy in the small moments, like cooking with her mother, helping her father in the fields, and playing with her friends in the village. Her parents' efforts to co-parent amicably made a significant difference, and the tension that once filled their lives started to dissipate. One day, while walking home from school, Zuri saw a group of children gathered around a notice board in the village square. Curious, she joined them and saw a colorful poster announcing a storytelling competition. The winner would get a chance to visit the city's cultural center and share their story on a radio show. Excited, Zuri rushed home to tell her parents, "Mom, Dad, there's a storytelling competition in the village. I want to enter and tell the story of Nana and the forest spirits." Amina and Kofi exchanged proud smiles. "That sounds like a wonderful idea, Zuri," Amina said. "You've always been such a good storyteller." Kofi nodded in agreement. "We'll help you prepare. This could be a great opportunity for you." Over the next few days, Zuri worked hard on her story. She wrote about her adventure in the forest, her encounter with Nana, and how the forest spirits guided her family to find peace. Amina helped her with the writing, while Kofi helped her practice her presentation. On the day of the competition, the village square was buzzing with excitement. Children from all over Maziwa gathered, each eager to share their tales. Zuri felt a mix of nerves and excitement as she waited for her turn. When her name was called, Zuri took a deep breath and stepped onto the small stage. She began her story, her voice clear and confident. She spoke of the vibrant market, the enchanting butterfly, and the wise Nana. She described the sacred tree and the lesson the forest spirits taught her family. As she finished her story, the audience erupted in applause. Zuri felt a warm glow of pride. The judges praised her storytelling and the heartfelt message of her tale. To her delight, they announced her as the winner. The following week, Zuri, along with her parents, traveled to the city's cultural center. It was a bustling place filled with artists, musicians, and storytellers. Zuri was thrilled to share her story on the radio show. She hoped that her tale of hope and reconciliation would inspire other families facing similar challenges. After the radio show, they visited the city's park, where Zuri saw a butterfly fluttering by, just like the one that had led her to the forest. She followed it, her parents close behind. The butterfly led them to a beautiful garden, filled with vibrant flowers and towering trees. As they sat in the garden, Amina turned to Kofi. "We've come a long way, haven't we?" Kofi nodded, looking at Zuri with pride. "Yes, we have. And it's all thanks to our brave daughter." Zuri smiled, feeling a deep sense of contentment. They had faced many challenges, but they had grown stronger together. The lessons from the forest and Nana's wisdom would stay with them forever. The family sat together, enjoying the beauty of the garden and the peace they had found. They knew that life would continue to bring challenges, but they were ready to face them as a united family. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the garden, Zuri made a silent promise to herself. No matter where life took them, she would always cherish the love and unity they had found. The next day, as they were preparing to leave the city and return to Maziwa, Zuri's parents received a surprising offer. The director of the cultural center, impressed by Zuri's storytelling, offered her a scholarship to attend a special storytelling workshop held every weekend in the city. Amina and Kofi discussed the offer. It would mean more traveling and adjusting their schedules, but they both knew how much this opportunity meant to Zuri. They decided to make it work. "Zuri, we've decided that you should take the scholarship," Amina said, smiling at her daughter. It's a wonderful opportunity for you. Zuri's eyes sparkled with excitement. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. I promise I'll make you proud. Back in Maziwa, life returned to normal, but with a new rhythm. Every Saturday, Zuri and one of her parents would travel to the city for the workshop. She loved learning new storytelling techniques, meeting other young storytellers, and sharing her own experiences. One Saturday, while in the city for her workshop, Zuri overheard a conversation between two participants about a nearby village facing a difficult drought. The crops were failing, and the villagers were struggling to find water. Moved by their plight, Zuri thought of the lessons she had learned from Nana and the forest spirits. That evening, she discussed the situation with her parents. We should help them, Zuri said. Maybe we can share some of the wisdom Nana taught us about finding water and caring for the land. Amina and Kofi agreed. They reached out to the village elders in Maziwa and gathered a group of volunteers. Armed with tools, seeds, and knowledge, they set out to help the drought-stricken village. Upon arriving, Zuri and her parents met with the village chief, a man named Maliki. He welcomed them warmly, but looked worried. We have tried everything, but the land is dry, and our people are losing hope, he said. Zuri spoke up. We have some ideas that might help. Let's start by searching for underground water sources and planting drought-resistant crops. The villagers worked tirelessly under the hot sun, guided by the wisdom Zuri and her parents shared. They dug wells, created irrigation channels, and planted seeds that could withstand the harsh conditions. Zuri shared stories of hope and resilience, lifting the spirits of those around her. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, signs of life began to appear. The wells filled with water, the crops started to grow, and the villagers' faces brightened with renewed hope. Maliki thanked Zuri and her family for their help. You have given us a future to look forward to, he said gratefully. As they prepared to return to Maziwa, Zuri felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She realized that storytelling wasn't just about entertaining, it was about sharing knowledge, inspiring others, and making a difference. Her adventure had taught her that stories had the power to heal and unite. Back in Maziwa, life continued to improve. The bond between Zuri, Amina, and Kofi grew stronger with each passing day. They had faced many challenges, but their love and commitment to each other had helped them overcome every obstacle. One evening, while sitting around a fire outside their home, Kofi turned to Zuri. You've grown into a remarkable young woman, Zuri. We are so proud of you. Amina nodded in agreement. Your courage and wisdom have brought so much joy and peace to our lives. Zuri smiled, feeling the warmth of her parents' love. I couldn't have done it without both of you. We are a team, and together, we can overcome anything. As the stars twinkled above them, Zuri looked up and remembered Nana's words. The journey was never truly over. It was always evolving, filled with new challenges and opportunities. But with love, unity, and the power of storytelling, they could face whatever the future held. And so, in the heart of Africa, in the small village of Maziwa, Zuri and her family continued their journey, hand in hand, their hearts filled with hope and their spirits guided by the wisdom of the forest. As the months passed, Zuri's life continued to blossom. She excelled in her storytelling workshops, and her family's efforts to support neighboring villages gained recognition. The bond between Amina and Kofi had never been stronger, and their cooperative efforts in the community brought them closer together. One sunny afternoon, while Zuri was helping her mother in the garden, a messenger arrived with an invitation from the city's cultural center. They were hosting a grand storytelling festival, and Zuri had been invited to share her stories on stage with some of the most renowned storytellers from across the country. Zuri's heart raced with excitement. She had always dreamed of sharing her stories with a larger audience. Her parents were equally thrilled and encouraged her to accept the invitation. On the day of the festival, Zuri, Amina, and Kofi traveled to the city together. The festival was a grand affair, with colorful decorations, lively music, and people from all walks of life. Zuri was in awe of the bustling atmosphere and the diversity of storytellers present. When it was her turn to perform, Zuri took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. She looked out at the sea of faces, some curious, some expectant. She began her story, weaving together her experiences, the lessons from Nana, and the wisdom of the forest spirits. She spoke of hope, resilience, and the power of unity. As she told her tale, the audience was captivated. They hung on her every word, feeling the emotions and the journey that Zuri had lived. When she finished, there was a moment of silence, followed by thunderous applause. Zuri's heart swelled with pride and joy. After the performance, many people approached her, praising her storytelling and expressing how deeply they were moved by her story. Among them was a renowned author named Mr. Temba, who invited Zuri to co-author a book about her experiences and the wisdom she had learned. "Your story has the power to inspire many more people," Mr. Temba said. "Let's share it with the world." Zuri eagerly agreed. With the support of her parents, she began working on the book. It was a labor of love, filled with the rich heritage of her village, the magical encounters with Nana, and the lessons of unity and resilience. Months later, the book was published and became an instant success. It was translated into several languages and reached readers far and wide. Zuri's story touched hearts and inspired people across the globe to cherish their roots, value their families, and find strength in unity. Back in Maziwa, life continued to flourish. The village thrived, thanks to the collective efforts of the community. The bond between Amina and Kofi remained strong, and they worked together to support Zuri in all her endeavors. One evening, as they sat together under the sacred tree in the forest, Zuri reflected on her journey. She had come a long way from the scared little girl who got lost in the market. She had grown into a confident young woman, guided by love, wisdom, and the power of storytelling. "Nana was right," Zuri said softly. "The true change comes from within, but we must also share our stories to inspire others." Amina and Kofi nodded in agreement. "We are so proud of you, Zuri," Amina said, hugging her daughter. "You've brought so much light into our lives," Kofi added, "and you've shown us that no matter how difficult the journey, with love and unity, we can overcome anything." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the forest, Zuri felt a deep sense of contentment. She knew that her story was far from over, but she was ready to face whatever the future held, with her family by her side and the wisdom of the forest guiding her. And so, in the heart of Africa, in the small village of Maziwa, Zuri and her family continued their journey, hand in hand, their hearts filled with hope and their spirits ever bright.